was amalgamated forcefully. Nigeria was created by the British without the consent of anybody, the natives. No native people were involved in the creation of Nigeria. No tribe or nation, Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Ijaw, etc. None of them signed to be one country. This fake union has no legitimacy. It doesn't matter how you pretend. This very fake union has no legitimacy. This is one of the reasons we will never back down. We, the Biafrans, we continue to ask for the end of the Zoological Republic. Another reason why we are asking for the end of this forceful amalgamation is systemic marginalization of Biafrans, more especially the Igbos. The systemic marginalization. That one is very clear. Political exclusion from top leaders' role. It is very, very clear. It is one of it, in as much as it is not even anything, because we are no longer interested in their politics and whatever they have to do. We are no longer interested. But that is one of the things that aggravated where we are today. Deliberate underdevelopment of Southeast, South region. Deliberately, Nigerian government kept the Southeast and the South underdeveloped, even though they are the fowl that laid the golden egg. That fowl that laid the golden egg is dying of hunger. You can imagine. Nigerian government deliberately underdeveloped the Southeast and South region. And these are the old Southeastern region, which is supposed to be the Biafra land. These are very, very genuine reasons why we can no longer be part of this forceful marriage. You look into Nigeria, the federal project, industry, investment often bypass the Southeast. Every federal project, you can never see them put anyone in Southeast or South. Industries, you can't find them there. Investment, no way. Whatever project you see in the Southeast today, I mean, in Igbo land today, is the one that they brought by themselves, they did by themselves, they created by themselves. So how long will you continue to be in a place where you're not wanted? How long will you continue to force yourself into an environment where you're not needed? One other important reason why our leaders are insisting that we must get out of the zoo, putting their life and everything on the line, is also the historic atrocities committed against Biafrans. The genocide committed against Biafra. That is one of the most important ones. The genocide committed against Biafra, and they continue to commit till tomorrow. And they are still ready to commit it. So if you are a Biafran, you are not paying attention to every other thing I have read here. This particular one is the number one. The genocide, continuous genocide against Biafrans. The continuous genocide that started since 1945 and was blown open in 1967 to 1970 war. Over 3 million Biafrans, mostly children, starved and killed. They are ready to do it again and again and again. And they are still doing it even as we speak. Nigerian government imposed a blockade, creating famine and mass death. Even up to today, they are still creating that blockade directly and indirectly. They are creating that blockade. That is why they will never allow an international airport to operate from the region of Southeast to any part of the world. They will not allow the seaports in Biafra land to work. This is also an imposition of a blockade. If you don't know, you better know it now. And these are the reasons why we must get out of the zoo. The deliberate refusal to approve a seaport or international airport in Biafra land is a blockade. In case you don't know, maybe now you begin to reason to that direction. These are the reasons why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Samuel, we never stop calling for the breakup for us to get have our own nation where life can be saved. The wound remained unhealed, fueling mistrust and resentment. How can the wound heal? Even when they promised the 3R, they never touched it, never did anything about it. Instead, they continue to push hate against the Biafrans, continue to sponsor hate against Biafrans from all directions. Number 4 is religious and cultural incompatibility. We are not compatible in any way, religiously, culturally, in no way. We are not same. Nigeria is deeply divided between a Muslim majority north and Christian majority south. Religious-wise, we are not compatible, and we will never be. And one of the dangerous things that is happening today is that they are trying us to buy into their religion, whether we like it or not, forcefully trying to take people into their own religion, which is unacceptable. Leaders argue this destructive diversity led to the endless clashes and distrust. That is true. The destructive diversity, that is one of the reasons. One of the major things that will make us never ever to back down from this very quest to get out of the zoo. Any day you back down, you are gone. Any day you back down, you are gone. And we must not back down. Insecurity and terrorism. Boko Haram, ISWAP, Fulani herdsmen, bandits, wreak havoc, mostly in the north. Government does nothing about it. Instead, they sponsor it. Insecurity and terrorism. Another major reason why we can never be part of Nigeria. Biafran leaders argue government either sponsor, protect, or fail to stop terrorism. We know that's what they do. They sponsor it. When you report it, they do nothing. When you fight back, they attack you. We have seen it on several occasions. We have seen testimonies, even people who were kidnapped. Instead of securing them, the government itself come after them. You bring information, you take you in. The citizens of that zoo are unsafe. Yet the military is often deployed against unarmed protesters in the east, more especially. They keep on deploying their military against us. At any given opportunity, they deploy them. Any slightest thing, they deploy their military. So how long are we going to be continuing to money? We cannot continue to that. We also have the economic injustice. The economic injustice in Nigeria is open, very open. Even a stranger knows. Oil from the Niger Delta, Biafra land, fund Nigeria. Yet the people remains impoverished, more impoverished than any other region. The Niger Delta area, where the oil comes from, very impoverished. No development, no roads, no water, no light. And yet they light up Abuja and Lagos. What else? What other injustice can be worse than that? These are reasons why we cannot and will never continue to be a part of the Zoological Republic. You also have the federal allocation favor to the North disproportionately. Exactly the way they share the allocations. They have already mastered it, draw a plan where it will favor the North. They create as many local governments as they, even where no human being exists, and the nation on their behalf, thereby making the people that owns the wealth to have just a little. The local communities where they get the wealth also is polluted. Pollution, poverty, and neglect. These things are things that are evidence you can see when you go to Biafra city, and these are reasons why no sensible person that is from this area will see all these things and you continue to say you want to be part of Nigeria. Only an idiot will continue to confess Nigeria with all these troubles. Peaceful Biafra activists face killings, arrests, disappearance, and torture, just like Mazen Nandekane is facing today. Mazen Simon Epa, the same thing. Peaceful Biafra activists, people who are only asking for referendum. That's all they ask for. They ask for referendum. Allow the people to make decision what they want. That is all they ask. And you unleash all manner of mayhem against them. Peaceful Biafra activists face killings, arrests, disappearance, and torture. For how long will we continue to face that and tolerate that? These are reasons why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Sam Marakwa insist that the only alternative and solution is a breakup. That is why Mazi Sam Marakwa preached Biafra as a remedy, and we are doing the same today. And we will never stop until we are free. Even as we speak, our supreme leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention, despite court rulings that set him free. Despite all the court rulings that set him free, they are still holding him. And you want us to fold our hands and begin to clap for your so-called one Nigeria. That will not happen. Our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa and others are facing international witch hunt. International witch hunting every day for every one of us that is speaking for Biafra. It is obvious in our platforms, online and offline, you see the witch hunting from your angle, from all corners, even from fellow Biafrans. The only way this can stop is when we have our own nation, a place we can call our own, so that we can sanitize it and make it what we want it to be. Another reason why we can never be part of this zoological republic is corruption. Corruption and failed state indicators. Every indicator that shows a failed state is in Nigeria. If you want to make an example of a failed state, Nigeria is a very good example. For anybody that wants to know the example of a failed state, Nigeria is a good example. Nigeria is plagued by corrupt election rigging, bad governance, and impunity. These are the order of the day in Nigeria. And how can you be proud to call such your country? And it is obvious that Nigeria is unfixable. It doesn't matter who becomes the leader. It doesn't matter what you restructure, what you did not restructure. Nigeria is just another scam. It's another scam because it is a structure that was built for scam. That is what it was meant for. It was not meant to promote any region, not to promote the Hausa, the Yoruba, or the Igbos. Not for the benefit of any indigenous people. It is just a scam, a British scam that was placed in Africa to manipulate everything. It's not only against Nigeria. They use Nigeria to manipulate other African countries. You saw what they tried to do when Nigeria wanted to get out of the hand of France. It was Nigeria they called upon to go and fight. And Nigeria was almost going there. Until they saw that Russia was backing up the Nigeria and all that, and they can't be able to try that nonsense. And they withdrew. So that is the role they've been playing all this while. They use them to threaten other neighboring countries. That is why they refer to them as giants of Africa, even when they have nothing to offer. You see why we must get out of this zoological republic, by fire, by force. Biafra is the only pathway to peace. Biafra is the only path to peace, security, justice, and progress for all regions, for everybody. This is not just for Biafra. Biafra is seen as the only pathway to peace, security, justice, and progress for everybody, both Biafran and non-Biafran. So don't think it's just for Biafra. It is the only pathway for peace for everybody. People can be able to secure their boundaries, secure their region, plan their own life, do what they know how to do best, and protect themselves. And that is why our leaders are bent on getting out of this zoological republic. Remaining in Nigeria means permanent slavery, killing, and destruction of generation to come. That is what it means. Anytime you come, you preach one Nigeria, stay in Nigeria, what you are saying is that the people in that area should remain in permanent slavery. They will continue to face insecurity, loss of lives. You are promoting destruction of generation to come. In case you do not know, now you know. That is why we must get out of the zoological republic called Nigeria. Biafran leaders, Mazi Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nandekan, call for breakup because Nigeria is an artificial, failed, unjust, and unsafe union where Biafrans can never, ever have justice or peace. We can never, ever have justice or peace in that name called Nigeria. That is why when our leaders are talking about getting out of it, they don't say it missing word. They don't say it missing word. They say it very loud and clear. And that is nothing but the truth. A place where the only thing you hear is bad news. You can never have any good news about Nigeria. It is always a bad news. Every day you wake up, it is always a bad news. There's never a time you go to the news to cite the news about Nigeria and you find something good. It's always a bad news. It's either you're talking about Boko Haram, just like of recently you saw 60 killed by Boko Haram in Borno State. 60 people, and nobody cares. In the northeast Borno, Boko Haram militants attacked the village of Daura Jamal, killing at least 60 people, destroying houses and displacing over 100 residents. That is the daily occurrence and daily news of Nigeria. Every blessed day you will hear of one atrocity or the other. They say the Nigerian military carried out a precision airstrike near Power Hill, Katsina, freeing 76 hostages, including children held by militants. One child unfortunately died during the operation. This is the kind of news you get in Nigeria, nothing else. And look at this one. A court sentenced Mahmoud Mohammed Usman, an Ansaru leader, links to Al-Qaeda, 15 years in prison on terror charges, illegal mining, financing terror. He remains in custody as trial continues for further charges. These are the things you see in Nigeria. Every day, it is always violence, violence, violence. Humanitarian crisis. Violence and displacement have contributed to a growing hunger crisis in conflict-affected areas, especially in the Northeast and Northwest. The U.S. approved $32.5 million in aid of over 762,000 internally displaced people, IDP, including pregnant women and children. You see, this is how U.S. fund terrorism. This 32.5 million United States is given to the northern part of Nigeria is going straight for terrorism, to buy weapons to terrorize other people. That is what it's going to. We have spoken about it time and time again, and every time the United States continue to give aid to terrorists against the citizens. In the southern part of Nigeria, where people have a legitimate concern, they will never show interest. But when it comes to the northern part of Nigeria, where they know that terrorists are in charge, they will send them money to buy more equipment to equip themselves in the name of aid. $32.5 million in aid. And before you know it, this money is going to end up in the hand of the terrorists, just like they did in Afghanistan. The same thing is what is happening in Nigeria, and yet the United States will never learn their lesson. They continue to do that. You see why our faith in our hand. You see why our faith is in our hand. That is why our leaders will never stop. Mazi Nandekan Mazi will never stop until we get out of the zoo. That is the only solution. The next one says the Northern Elders Forum, NEF, urged President Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in northern Nigeria due to escalating insecurity, violent attack, kidnapping, killings, and general lawlessness. They claim security agencies are overstretched, under-resourced, sometimes compromised. This is what you see in a failed state. This is what you see in a failed state. The Northern Elders Forum. And this same Northern Elders Forum, they are the same people who will come and tell you that the attack against Boko Haram is the attack against the North. When you go after these people, they will not agree. They are the people that give them different kinds of names. Instead of calling them terrorists, they call them bandits. These same people were the people that created the bandits. They are the same people that are backing up the Fulani herdsmen, killer herdsmen, the fourth most dangerous terrorists. They are the one backing them up. And look at them here complaining about insecurity. And these are the people that the United States will look at and give them 32.5 million. Only to take their money and sponsor more insecurity in the area. But in the southern part of Nigeria, where people are genuinely concerned about the terrorism of the Fulanis, the United States will not pay attention. Biafrans have been murdered, have been crying and shouting. Nobody pays attention. Nobody reports about what is happening in Biafra land. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. This other news says a report by Beacon Security and Intelligence shows that in the first half of 2025, there were 4,672 incidents and 6,800 fatalities from insecurity. This is 19% increase in death compared to the same period in 2024. You can see. But when we talk about these issues, people do not understand. Nobody cares. And this is why we are bent on getting out of the zoo. No matter what it will cost, we are going to get out of the Zoological Republic. No matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what it will cost us. We will get out. And that is why our leaders are not relenting. The other news said in North Central banditry, herdsmen violence. In North Central Nigeria, between November 2024 and April 2025, about 578 people killed by bandits. We are talking about human beings, not animals. 578 human beings lost their life in the hand of the bandits, headers, and armed criminal group. States like Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, we are badly affected. And this very number you are seeing here is an estimate. It's way, way, way more than this. The people that are lost their life in Nigeria are way, way more than this. This is underreported. But yet, these are the kind of news you see in the zoo. That is why we will never, ever, ever remain there. We will never remain there. The government is not serious about protecting the citizens. They will do nothing to protect the citizens. They are only there supporting the insurgents, supporting the terrorists against their own people. This is the kind of news you get from Nigeria. Geographic spread of insecurity in wide northeast, insurgent northwest, north central, banditry, kidnapping, raid, and even in the northern communities of other regions. Civilians, including women and children, are reportedly victims in villages, communities, mosques during displacement or abduction. Security forces are under pressure, overstretched, lack resources, intelligence, sometimes unable to reach remote areas. You can imagine. This is the giant of Africa saying that their security is outstretched, overstretched. In a place they claim that the most populated African most populated country, overstretched. They don't have enough security to protect them. They lack resources. With all the resources and oil they have resources. Intelligent, they don't have. They lack intelligence. But if it is to go after Biafrans house by house to take the innocent life, they will go. If it is to go to Okigwe and begin to take innocent life, they will go to Okigwe and they begin to take life. It is very easy for them. Very, very easy. Very, very easy for them. But when it comes to the real thing, you never see them play a role. Killing of security personnel is rising. Many military, police, vigilante communities, watch corps, killed in operation and ambush. These are people that will secure. They have not even secured themselves, let alone securing the country. How can they secure? This is kind of information. You will only find these factors in a failed state. So when we say Nigeria is a failed state, it is not a propaganda. Every information I'm reading is from their own news, from their own conventional news, conventional media. And all these are indication of a failed state. Economic and livelihood impact are severe. Agriculture disrupts displacement, food insecurity, market being stopped, etc. Public pressure and civil activities are pushing for stronger government response, including emergency declaration, accountability for politicians alleged to have ties with criminals network, and better border control. There was a video I saw that was in the north where a senator was indicted of sponsoring bandits. They raided this house of a senator and they saw motorbike that the senator used to sponsor bandits. And they saw the money the bandits brought to the share. After ransom had been paid, they pay ransom, they collect the ransom, they come to the senator's house and they share it. The senator provides them with logistics, provide them with all logistics they need, including hospital. In the house of the senator, there is a hospital where they treat them when they got injured. Only in Nigeria will you see a senator, a serving senator in Nigeria, a serving senator in the northern part of Nigeria, sponsoring bandits. When they got injured, he has a hospital in his house to treat them. I forgot to get that video. I'm going to get the video and play because it's on video, so that you will see people saw it on video and they show the video. The man was arrested. But what will happen to him? Of course, he'll be released. He will be released because he has somebody in Asorok. The major sponsors are in Asorok. They are everywhere. Nothing will be done. You can imagine a sitting senator sponsoring terrorism, sponsoring the terrorists. They saw almost 100 motorbikes in his house that he gives to them. They saw the money that was paid for ransom in his house. And some of them that were caught confessed that they come there to share the money. In his house, there is a hospital in his own house where he treats them. Once they get injured, they will fly them to his house. Of course, in that same house, you know that they have security. They have police guarding the house everywhere. You can imagine a policeman guiding a place where terrorists come to take treatment. A policeman protecting a man that is sponsoring terrorists. And you'll be asking, how is it that these terrorists cannot be stopped? How is it that these terrorists are taking over? How is it that these terrorists are so powerful? Why wouldn't they be powerful? Why wouldn't they be powerful? When a serving sitting senator is leading them, sponsoring them, when you pass a bill that is going to affect them, he will stand against it. That is why when they see some of their military men crying that when they want to attack Boko Haram, they will get a call and they will tell them to fall back. Now you understand. But the most idiotic thing that the same people that know that the military is compromised, they will still be there. They will still be there, following them sheepishly, and they'll be dying like fowl. They will still be there. The same people that knows that these people are compromised. You will be in the field. Your own fellow military man will shoot you from the behind. And you think it's a joke. It is not a joke. It is not a joke. It is not a joke. And if you think it's a joke, you better think again. If you think it's a joke, you better think again. Because the atrocities that is happening in the Social Republic will be overemphasized. And the earlier you begin to face the reality and know what it is, the better for you. This is why no sensible person, no reasonable person will continue to buy into the idea of one Nigeria. Only those who are criminally minded. Only those who are evil in their thought and their minds. Only those who are compromised. They are the people that you can find in this over and over again. No matter how you try to avoid them, you cannot. The only way to run away from this evil is to get out of the zoological republic. And that is why our leaders are not stepping back. They are not relenting. Our leaders are not relenting. They will continue to fight and fight and fight to see that we get out of the zoological republic. My fellow Biafrans, wherever you are, every one of us must sit up. There is no other alternative that we have except Biafra. Biafra remains the only solution. Only. I'm not saying one of the only solution to the problem we are having today is Biafra. That's the only solution. And if you think there is something else you can do, you better think again. There is no other solution. No other solution whatsoever. And I pray that Chukwu will open our eyes and make us to be steadfast. Forget about blackmail, propaganda, gossip, and focus on how to get back to our land. Work collectively as one in strength to overcome this evil that is before us. Because in division, we cannot overcome these enemies. We cannot overcome them in division. Every one of us must tighten up our belt. My fellow Biafrans, lovers of truth, freedom fighters across the world. Today we must look into the very heart of darkness called Nigeria. We must look into it and know that the only way out is to walk out of that zoo. Walk out of it. If we don't, it is going to be bad. My people, we are at crossroads. Nigeria has failed. There is no doubt. Nigeria has failed. Nigeria was never meant to succeed because it was built on deception, on force, on a foundation that rejects freedom. How can anybody have hope on such kind of an entity? How can anybody have hope on a foundation laid on such kind of deception, on force, on a foundation that rejects freedom? How can you put your hope on such? Our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa and our Supreme Leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not call for breakup out of bitterness. No. Their call for breakup is not out of bitterness. Likewise, today, we are not calling for breakup out of bitterness. We are all calling for it because life itself depends on it. That is why we are calling for breakup, to save life. We are calling for breakup, not because of bitterness, but because life itself depends on it, life of the people, not just the Biafran, everybody in that location. Our life depends on it. That is why we are calling for a breakup. Our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they called for it because the blood of our ancestors and the cry of our children demands it. That is why they are crying for breakup. And that is why we are joining our voice to cry for breakup. Because of the blood of our ancestors, the cry of our children demands that we must cry for breakup to save life, to save humanity. The question is no longer whether Biafra will come. The question is, will you rise and take responsibility for your own freedom? As a Biafran, will you rise